been
Close, but I can't.
like 2 weeks overdue.
Uh-oh,
So I got trimmed tight today.
good deal. Nothing wrong with that. Things all right your way?
Huh?
Things all right your way?
I think so.
Good.
I think so.
All righty. We'll take it, huh?
We'll take it. So, well, we got 3 members to that, so make sure to make your speech.
I will. I will. Thank you.
John, there's that John tested positive. That's just
Really?
I think he's doing okay, but when I talk to him, he's doing okay. You can kiss him.
Well, I did. That's why I was worried about it. We was in the parking lot after last meeting, so
It is 5 o'clock. We will go ahead and begin this meeting of the Kokomo City Board of Zoning Appeals. I would ask if you have a cell phone to make sure to hit that on silent. And then I would invite everyone to stand and join us as we begin with the Pledge of Allegiance and moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Our first item on the agenda this evening is the approval of the minutes from the Tuesday, October 5th, 2021 meeting.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I'm guessing no one will be opposed to that. I will mention before we move into our cases this evening that we do have 3 voting members here this evening. That's all it takes for us to have a quorum to be able to have this meeting. However, for a case to be approved, it takes 3 yes votes. So I always like to mention when we don't have a full board, we have 5 voting members, 2 absent this evening. So I always like to tell the petitioners, in case you would prefer to present your case, in essence, you need all 3 present members this evening to vote yes for the approval of your case. It's your prerogative if you'd like to request that your case be continued to next month, and then hopefully we'll have the full board here. So if you feel like, and I believe that even during the case, right, they could, you could,
Yep.
you could pause if you think, I don't know if I'm not feeling that things are going so well. I'd rather present to 5 rather than 3. Just ask the board, I'd like to ask for continuance to next month, and then we'll go from there. So just want to throw that out there so you're all aware. If you do decide you want to continue, if you decide right now that you want to continue, just when you come forward, we'll ask you to just request that at that point. So our first case to be heard this evening is case P16-V-21.
Well, Mr. President, along with your announcement, I also want to make all the petitioners aware that if for some reason there is a no vote and it is denied, well, that's not true, is it? Because I started to say they wouldn't be able to bring it back for 6 months, but that's not true because there wouldn't be 3 no votes unless it's unanimous. So it would
Correct.
already be continued, correct?
So the end result of today, if there's not 3 yes votes, would be a continuance to the next
To the
meeting
next meeting.
under the rules of procedure.
Okay. After I opened my mouth, I thought about that. So. All
Well,
right,
we
first
have
case
counsel.
tonight, his case P16-V-21. The petition of Jeff Grafen requesting a variance of 2 feet to section 617B, A, variance of 2 feet to section 617B, and variance of 3 feet to section 17BC in an L1 zone. This is at 1624 East Jefferson Street.
Do I have a motion on this case?
I move that we approve case number P16V-21 and adopt the findings of the petitioner as those of the board and make those findings part of the record.
Second.
All right, thank you. Have any board members had any ex parte communication regarding this case?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. Whoever's representing this case, if you'd please step to the microphone at this time, give us your name, your address for the record, and kind of tell us what it is that brings you here this evening, what you're wanting to do.
Okay. My name is Jeff Grafin. My address is 22774 Citation Road, Frankfort, Illinois. And I'm here to request a variance from a 6-foot fence to an 8-foot fence to accommodate outdoor storage that we proposed storing at the site in the future.
Okay, thank you. Okay, you want to go ahead and, we have the packet in front of us that has the different diagrams. Do you have this packet as well?
I've generated, yes,
Okay.
I can speak to it, sure.
Okay, we'll take a second here to kind of just look through.
And while you're all looking through that, just a reminder to the board, this is a low-intensity industrial zone. Up until probably 5 years ago, an 8-foot fence was allowed in this particular zone. It was reduced to 6 feet 5 or 6 years ago. So at one time, it was a permitted use.
Okay, thank you.
Why the change?
Okay, do you have a copy of your findings of fact?
I do.
Okay, would you mind reading those into the record for us?
I will. The approval will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. The proposed 8-foot tall fence will be built off the roadway and not obstruct visibility of motorists and pedestrians. The use and value of the area adjacent to the property included in the variance will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. The proposed 8-foot fence will be constructed with black vinyl slats of high-quality material. The fence will screen any proposed outdoor storage material and will be architecturally friendly. The strict application of the terms of this zoning ordinance will result in a practical difficulty. This situation shall not be self-imposed nor be based on perceived reduction or restriction of economic gain. The 8-foot tall fence will allow for outdoor storage to be screened of building products and will generate sales tax for the community.
Okay, thank you. So what is the intended storage area for?
Yeah, the intended storage area is for, we're proposing an ABC supply. They're a roofing and siding distributor. So it's going to house, generally, shingles are stacked 6 foot high on pallets. We would like to screen it from any visibility of the streets, hence the 8-foot fence request.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Sheeline, will you correct me if I'm wrong, but did we have a similar case within the last few years, maybe over kind of near the Howard Community Hospital?
We had one at Menards, I remember, a few years
Yeah.
ago.
Did we have?
The one by the hospital, we did the frontage and we didn't go, it wasn't higher, I don't believe, but we let him come forward
We let him
because of
come
that
forward.
vacant lot. He was
Okay.
gonna come forward, not on the front line, so.
Okay, thank you.
Is my recollection of it anyway.
Yeah, that's right. Menards was the other one. I knew there was another one.
Mr. Sheeline, you said previously there was an 8-foot fence and then it got down to a 6. Was there a reason? Was it just?
It was the previous administration. I wasn't for that change, but we always don't get what we want, so.
I understand.
I always thought the 8-foot was in that zone, was a legitimate height for a fence, but only to, especially along 931 where they're at
Right.
to not allow. And we also, in part of that ordinance, the one part of that I did agree with, also is when you have outdoor storage, it cannot go past the height of the fence. That could, so in other words, he said they had 6-foot pallets. If those pallets get to be 9 foot and they're above that 8-foot fence, it's a zoning violation, and we could go in and make them reduce it so it can't be seen above the fence.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Are there other questions from the board at this time? Mr. Sheeline, you want to go ahead and read the staff
Yeah,
findings?
staff findings for case P 16-V-21, the approval will not be injurious to public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. The proposed variance would not cause injury to the public health, safety, morals, or general welfare of the community. The fence will be located out of the right-of-way and will not cause vision clearance problems at any intersection. The use and value of the area adjacent to the property included in the variance will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. Granting this variance for a fence to screen an outdoor storage area will help keep the area from looking cluttered and allow the petitioner to store their items more securely. The fence will be made of black slats and will be visually consistent across the property. The strict application of the terms of this zoning ordinance will result in a practical difficulty. This situation shall not be self-imposed nor be based on a perceived reduction of or restriction of economic gain. If the variance is not granted, the petitioner will only be able to store up to 6 foot in height rather than 8 feet, minimizing the amount of storage the petitioner will be able to utilize.
Okay, thank you. Having heard both the petitioner's findings and the staff findings, are there other questions from the board?
No.
Is there anyone in the audience wishing to be heard regarding this case? Okay, Mr. Grafen, is there anything that you would like to add that we haven't covered?
No, other than we welcome the opportunity to be able to relocate ABC Supply into this community.
Okay, thank you. If there are no other questions, we do have a motion for approval, and it has been seconded. The motion for approval of case P 16-V-21. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye as well. Anyone opposed? Okay, congratulations.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Our next case this evening,
Yes, case P 11-SE-21, petition of Nolan Sandberg requesting a special exception for section 3.31 for a storage facility in the C2 zone. This is at 2904 South Albright Road.
I have a motion on this case.
I move that we approve case number P11-SE-21 and adopt the findings of the petitioner as those of the board and make those findings part of the record, sir.
Second?
Okay, any board members had any ex parte communication on this one?
Nope.
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. All right, whoever's representing this case, if you'll step to the microphone, give us your name and address for the record.
Guys, my name is Nolan Sanborn, 5733 8th Avenue South in Birmingham, Alabama. I'm asking for a special exception for a storage facility in a C2 zone in Kokomo.
Okay. All right, what are the thoughts? I mean, can you kind of fill us in, just like if someone says, so what do you want to do there? Like the number of units and your
So
clientele?
I purchased the apartment that's adjacent to it at Albright Glen, and that piece of land right there has been sitting vacant for as long as that apartment has been there. I spoke with my banker about it, and he said this could be an awesome opportunity for the city of Kokomo. There's about 1,000 units of apartment tenants that are in that area. There's a couple other locations of storage facilities around town, but this would be a very great, easy, convenient location for those surrounding tenants in that 1 square mile of this piece of land.
And so the apartment complex is just to the south?
It would be just to the west. Just to the west.
Oh, okay.
Apologize, yeah.
There's apartments actually all around it.
Okay.
There's apartments all around this, yeah, all around it. And it's obviously zoned for the multifamily residential. There's just a lot of units already over there, and figure this could be a solution.
Okay. How many units are you anticipating?
Anywhere from 100 to 140. It's just going to depend upon the structure and the way we try and get as many as we can on there without being, I guess, abiding by the rules.
Okay. And then what kind of, like, security? Will there be fencing? Will there be?
Yeah, we plan to put fencing around. We're going to work with a company called FBI Buildings. They've built other facilities in town. They're a pole barn building business that's in the Midwest, and they kind of have a really great background and some really great just processes and systems in place, and they're very good at what they're doing. And so I wanted to work with the professional that's already done it.
Okay. And then will there be electricity in the units or not?
Yeah, we're not going to have an actual office space in there. It's going to be electric for the security systems and the lights, and then also the gate that runs across. But we're not going to have running water or restrooms or anything of that nature so far.
Okay. All right, any other questions?
Ingress, egress is just gonna be on Albright?
Correct.
Are there other questions at this time from the board? And I'm looking, the management summary rests with you and Boyd Kunkel. Is he in town, or will someone be in town?
Yeah, he's my property manager for the rest of my apartments and single-family homes, and he's very local. He's works here in town for his whole life, yeah.
Thank you. All right, do you have a copy of your findings of fact?
I do,
Yeah, do you mind going ahead and reading those for us?
absolutely.
Thanks.
The proposal will not be injurious to the public health, safety, and morals and general welfare of this community. The requirements and development standards of the requested use as prescribed by this zoning ordinance will be met. The building met the minimum requirements for front and side setback requirements for this zoning district. The granting of the exception will not subvert the general purpose served by the zoning ordinance and will not permanently injure other property or uses in the same district and vicinity. And the proposed will be consistent with the character of the district therein, the spirit and intent of the zoning ordinance and the Kokomo Comprehensive Plan.
Okay, do you happen to have one that has your comments?
Oh, also
your
my
additions?
comments, I apologize.
Yeah, then you're fine. I mean, if you want to go through and say point A and then give us
Okay.
that, and point B.
Point A, this rezoning will create a solution for the fierce demand of storage in Kokomo, and we will abide by every rule, regulation, and code that must be met. Point B, yes, we will abide by all rules and regulations that the county and the state require. Point C, correct, I have spoken with multiple property owners around the property, and they are all excited about the project. No other properties will be hindered by this rezoning. And point D, yes, we are providing a solution for the city and also earning more income for the city through a higher and better use for this piece of property.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Sheeline, do you want to go ahead and do the staff findings?
Yeah, staff's findings for case P 11-SE-21. The proposal will not be injurious to public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. The proposal for a brand-new self-storage facility will not cause injury to the general welfare of the community. The requirements and development standards for the requested use described by this zoning ordinance will be met. The buildings meet the minimum setbacks for front and side setback requirements in the zoning district. The facility will be built from the ground up and will meet all development standards. Petitioner will be required to go through site plan process when he is ready to build. The granting of the exception will not subvert the general purposes served by this zoning ordinance and will not permanently injure other property or uses in the same district and vicinity. By infilling this current vacant lot with a new modern storage facility, value will be added to the neighborhood. The proposed development will not be out of the neighborhood character. The proposed use will be consistent with the character of the district therein, the spirit and intent of this zoning ordinance, and the Kokomo Comprehensive Plan. This area has several housing developments nearby, and the proposed, let me start over. This area has several housing developments nearby, and the proposed storage facility will be a new amenity for the neighborhood. The City of Kokomo Comprehensive Plan designates this area for low-density residential uses.
All right, thank you. All right, any other questions from the board, having heard Mr. Sanborn's presentation and the findings of fact from both Mr. Sanborn and Mr. Sheehan. Well, Mr. Besser peruses there because he a lot of times comes up with some
Well,
good-
I'm just kind of impressed with how thorough this is.
Oh,
Pretty good presentations.
yeah.
Thank you.
I'm good.
One of the
Okay.
better ones we've had.
Yeah,
for
that's,
stories,
Yeah.
so,
yeah, there's a
absolutely.
lot of good information in there.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
A lot of good information.
Anyone in the audience wishing to be heard regarding this case? Okay. If there are no questions from the board, nothing from the audience, we do have a motion and a second for the approval of case P 11-SE-21. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And aye as well. So, congratulations.
Thank you.
All righty. All right, our next case this evening, Mr. Sheehan.
This case is case P12-SE-20, petition of Paul Wyman, requesting a special exception for section 3.251 for a coffee shop in a C1 zone in the USGOOL Gateway Office Overlay, and this is at 2035 East 00 North South.
Do I have a motion on this case?
I move that we approve case number P12-SE-21 and adopt the findings of the petitioner as those of the board and make those findings part of the record.
Second.
All right, thank you. Any ex parte communication on this case?
Nope.
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. I see Mr. Wyman here. I'm guessing you're going to represent this case?
Yes, sir.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Paul Wyman, 1533 West Lincoln Road, Kokomo, Indiana. And seeing how the 3-0 votes have been going tonight, I'm going to roll my dice with the three of you here. So out here on was more commonly known as Markland, out 200 East on the way to the bypass, we have a location of a property with a pole building on it, and the petitioner would like to open up a coffee shop. It'll be a drive-through coffee shop, 7 days a week, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., and there'll be no indoor seating. However, there will be the opportunity to park and go inside to the counter and pick up coffee if so desired. So I think it's a great location. Obviously, you know, things are expanding out to the bypass. You see a lot of construction and different projects going on, and probably one of the biggest ones, obviously, is Championship Park out in that area. So we think the coffee shop will be fantastic to support that type of growth that's going on out toward the bypass. They'll also offer, along with coffees, just some simple things like muffins, danishes, hot dogs, pretzels, a real simple menu, things that can be made really quick and picked up at a drive-through to keep the line going. And so our request tonight is to get the special exception. I believe our rezoning case is scheduled for, is it next Tuesday, Greg?
Correct.
So we're getting the special exception subject to the rezoning being
Zoning
granted.
approved. Correct.
And so that has all been filed, and that's all in process as well. So that's our request this evening, and it's a pretty simple project, but glad to answer any questions that you might have.
Will they be using the current building there?
Yeah, they're going to use the current building, give it a little bit of love, and then the drive-through will just be on one side of the building, which in this case would be the south side of the building.
Okay. And then keep the same entrance as well?
Yep.
You want to go ahead and read your findings of fact?
Absolutely. So the proposal will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. We agree with that statement. It will not, since commercial growth is moving in this direction and other commercial has already developed in this area. The requirements and development standards for the requested use prescribed by the zoning ordinance will be met, and of course, we will meet any and all requirements that will be required to open up the coffee shop. The granting of the special exception will not subvert the general purposes served by the zoning ordinance and will not permanently injure other property or uses in the same district. And we agree it's consistent with the growth moving toward the US 31 bypass. And then the proposed use will be consistent with the character and district they're in and the spirit and intent of the zoning ordinance, the Kokomo Comprehensive Plan. And we certainly agree that it would be within its spirit, and having a coffee shop out in that growth area would be appropriate.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Sheehan?
Staff findings for case P12-SE-21. The proposal will not be injurious to public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. The proposal for a coffee shop should not be injurious to the general welfare of the community. Petitioner plans to do some renovations to the building in order to add a drive-through to the south side. The requirements and development standards for the requested use as described in this zoning ordinance will be met. The buildings meet the minimum requirements for front and side setback requirements in the zoning district. The property in question meets all development standards, but being paved. The petitioner will be required to pave the planned drive-through. A rendering of the proposed drive-through was not provided by the petitioner. The granting of the exception will not subvert the general purposes served by this zoning ordinance and will not permanently injure other property or uses in the same district and vicinity. Granting this variance, this special exception will not harm the surrounding properties or impact their use. The proposed use will be consistent with the character of the district therein, the spirit and intent of this zoning ordinance, and the Kokomo Comprehensive Plan. The Kokomo Comprehensive Plan designates this area for the US 31 primary gateway. The proposed use would fit in the area as it continues to grow and expand commercially.
All right, thank you. Haven't heard the staff and petitioner's findings of fact. Any questions from the board?
Does this have to be, motion be changed to contingent to?
I was getting ready to bring that up. Yes.
Right, it has to be
You have
contingent
an
to the
amendment?
rezoning.
Be contingent to the rezoning, yes.
Correct. You're up.
Does that matter? It's not rezoned?
Well,
mean,
we're kind of going backwards,
We're-
because they have to get a rezone first.
So
and
I
then they
just
gotta
have
come
to
the BZA
amend
for
it.
the special
Just say
exception,
contingent on.
I'm with
which
you.
is kind of weird that.
Back
second,
to,
third Tuesday.
back to my motion, we'll add contingent to the rezoning.
Correct.
Correct.
Very good.
Alrighty.
Second.
Thank you.
Good deal. Okay, anything else? Anyone in the audience? Okay, we do have a motion and a second for the approval of case P12-SE-21 contingent on the rezoning of this property next week. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? I'm in favor as well, so 3-0.
When you said opposed and then you said I'm in favor, I thought it was coming after the opposed. That was kind of funny. I think you
realized I
were,
didn't vote.
you did that to give me a little heart palpitation there, but that's good. So good to see you all. Thank you for your work. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Any other business to be brought before the board this evening?
I have no other business tonight, Mr. President.
Anyone else? You good? Do I have a motion for adjournment?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And aye. All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you all.
Thank you.